What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Abe. This is Eve Online, and we are in our I'm in Null, Now What series. We're going to get into markets and where you go to buy things and how you manage to procure stuff or acquire things that you're not looting yourself. I figured that the most appropriate ship to be in for this was the pod, and just to make it interesting, let's color our pod with this skin that I got at some point for one of the anniversaries. I don't know. But I like it. So here we are in our colorful pod. Where do I go to buy things? You're talking about, having a destroyer to do salvaging with, and you will likely start talking about mining or combat ships or things like that in the future. But where do I go to buy these things? I'm definitely not going to buy a destroyer or, buy any of these ships and then fly them from Jita out into Null. You may, and if you make it, congratulations, you did it. But a lot of people would probably die doing that. So where do you go, and how do you find? I don't know. Where do you go to buy things? Is basically the question that we're going to answer here. So generally speaking, your corporation or your alliance or both will have orientation documentation where they tell you, all right, this is our home system. When you get out here, set up your clones here, here, and here, and we'll talk about that in the next video if you sort of want to wait around for that. But also in that documentation, they'll tell you where their markets are. So alliances or large groups of space or of corporations in a given area in space will set up their own impromptu markets. So if I look over here, my salvaging ship is a coercer. So if I type it into the market, so you can see here that in the space around me that there are at very least two sort of market areas. So the documentation that you're provided by your corporation will tell you the system and the station that you can or should maybe try to buy or sell your things from. It is going to be somewhat limited. So if I don't know, I'm just going to try to think of something. If I want 1400 millimeter Tech 2, okay, it looks like they are actually for sale out here, but let's see. What about, well, they do have that. Okay, anything that you click on where you're like, man, I really want this extra large, super nice shield booster, and none of them are out here. That's kind of the constraint that you are signing up for when you go out into Null, is that everything that you might dream of and want is not going to be readily available here. And so you may need to also talk to your corporation to set something up where they have a freight service that's pulling things in from Jita and back to Jita based on people's contracts. But generally speaking, you're going to find that your corporation or your alliance will have set up a small marketplace out in your area of space. So if you want ammo, if I want some EMPL, doesn't look like that's for sale out here, which makes sense because we are up against Angels or Angel Cartel, whereas Fusion L is. So the basics and your necessities are going to be out here. Your destroyers, your a lot of the Tech 1 ships. So if I want to fly a Rifter, for example, there are a lot of them available. Tech 1 frigates, probably cruisers, although I'll be surprised. The market space out by where I'm at now is relatively sparse, but the long story short here is that there may be 2, 3, or 4 different markets in your general vicinity. And as you can see, I'm looking at basically 3 that are in my general vicinity. And I know now that I've been out here a little while that this place has a little bit more to offer. This place often has more to offer as well than the one that I'm closest to, which that's the one my corporation is closest to, but that doesn't mean that's the one that I have to shop at. So so there are markets that people set up. They're not as populated as Jita. So if you're looking for something in particular and you don't see it here, you can ask around, and usually there are channels I've got it behind my picture here, but let me see if I can turn this off. It doesn't matter. Usually there will be a trade channel, there will be a trade mailing list, and a trade section on your corporation or your alliance's Discord chat, or whether it's whatever they're using, whether it's Slack, Discord, Jabber, I don't know. People use all kinds of things, but usually there's an area that you can go where you can say, I really need a stabber. I don't know, just to grab that ship. I really need a stabber. Does anybody have one that they can make for me? And usually someone will make one for you, and they'll either give it to you for free, or they may, give you a general market price. If you think it's a ripoff and you're looking at, I don't know, the market, and maybe you can't land at these places, and this is another consideration, but maybe you're looking at the market and they're offering it to you at 50% higher cost than the rest of the place. It's up to you to decide whether you want to buy it from them. But it may be that what you're paying the extra amount for is having it here ready for you out in Null and made for you on order. Also, and very important, when you see these different locations and before you buy something from there, look at the location's information, figure out who that corporation is, and look at what their standings are. So this will tell you, at very least, give you a first blush look at whether you're going to be able to dock at the area that you're going to buy the thing from. My suggestion is to always fly out there first. Use an interceptor if you're worried about safety in space, but fly out there first. Make sure that you can dock before you buy the thing that you're there to buy. It's just a rule of thumb in EVE, especially if you're going into Null or low sec to buy something. Always make sure that you can land at the station that it's being sold at before you buy it. Even if there's only one left, make sure you can land before you buy it, because that's something that people do, is they sell a bunch of stuff at a station that is very limited access only to their own corporation. And if other people want to buy it, they can. There's no warning that says, hey, you can't land here. There is a warning that says, hey, you might not be able to land there, but it tells you that whether you can or you can't. So there is no really good indicator. And if there is, and you're hearing this and you're like, man, what an idiot, how can you not know about that? Please tell me, because I'm an idiot and I don't know about that. So markets, that's kind of how it goes. You have a number of different options. Local markets that get set up by your corporation and your alliance. You've got trade channels that you can request things specifically, and a lot of times, especially in the larger alliances, there are people out there making anything and everything that you might want or need. There's freight, where you can place an order with a delivery service and you'll pay a premium for that, or you'll have to go to JITA yourself and bring it down on your own. And I suggest using something like an interceptor if you can fit it in there. Go ahead and use that. And if you can't, then you get into somewhat more complicated forms of transportation. And those are your options. So good luck to you. If you have any questions, and I'm sure that you do, I know I still have questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'm happy to talk about them and or make a video about it. So that's it for markets. Now that I'm in Null, now what? And we'll go into one of these other professions in the next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.